Have you ever wondered if you are truly ready to date a Filipina? Many are drawn to the radiant beauty and genuine warmth that Filipinas are known for, but often the initial spark hides layers of complexity that can challenge even the most hopeful hearts. The early days of meeting someone from a different culture are filled with excitement and wonder, as you are enchanted by her kindness, vibrant smile, and the rich traditions she carries with her. At first, every moment feels magical, every shared conversation a step toward a future that promises endless joy and understanding. Yet, as the relationship grows, subtle cultural nuances begin to surface. You might find that the way love and respect are expressed in her world differs from what you are accustomed to. These differences, while enriching, can also lead to moments of confusion and unexpected challenges. What seemed like small quirks at the beginning may gradually reveal deeper values and expectations influenced by her heritage and family ties. In those moments, the initial charm of the relationship can be tested by misunderstandings and unmet assumptions, leaving you to wonder if you truly grasp the cultural depth behind the smiles and laughter. The rush of new love can sometimes push you to make decisions quickly, trusting that the connection will naturally overcome any obstacles. However, without a clear understanding of the underlying cultural dynamics, even the most promising start might falter under the weight of unspoken traditions and different views on commitment and communication. As you immerse yourself in this world of shared experiences and heartfelt emotions, you may find yourself caught between the joy of a newfound romance and the reality of navigating a relationship that spans more than just personal differences. It bridges entire worlds of customs and values. Every interaction, every small misunderstanding, carries the potential to reshape your perspective on what it means to be compatible. The allure of her world invites you to explore a life filled with vibrant traditions and a unique way of expressing love, but it also demands that you learn and adapt to avoid pitfalls that could turn your dream relationship into an unexpected challenge. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into how these cultural differences play out in daily life and what signs to watch for when the surface begins to crack. Imagine meeting a Filipina for the first time, where every smile and glance speaks of a culture rich with history and traditions. The excitement begins the moment you realize that her warmth and charm are just a glimpse of a vibrant way of life that she carries with her. You are drawn in by the sparkle in her eyes and the gentle cadence of her speech as she shares stories of family gatherings, festivals, and a way of living that seems both enchanting and inviting. In that moment, the idea of building a future together appears effortless and filled with promise. The early days of getting to know her feel like a wonderful adventure. Every conversation opens a window into a world where respect for elders, strong family ties, and a joyful appreciation for life's simple pleasures are at the core of daily life. You may find yourself captivated by the way she talks about her childhood, filled with memories of colorful fiestas, community celebrations, and long evenings spent laughing with relatives under the starry night sky. The charm of these tales and the genuine affection in her voice make it easy to forget that you are stepping into a relationship that comes with its own set of expectations and responsibilities. Many men, caught up in the romance of the moment, often let the initial thrill of meeting someone so captivating overshadow the need to truly understand the deeper cultural layers at play. The excitement of a new romance can lead to overlooking the subtle but significant details that shape life in the Philippines. For example, you might not immediately notice how important family approval and community opinion are in her life. The close-knit nature of Filipino families means that any relationship is not just about the two individuals involved, but also about how well they fit into an intricate network of relatives and friends who have a say in personal matters. As your relationship deepens, you begin to experience the everyday rhythm of her life, a blend of modern aspirations and traditional values. You see her balancing the demands of work or school with the expectations of family gatherings, church, services, and social obligations that are deeply embedded in her culture. There is a constant interplay between the traditional and the modern, where she values both her personal dreams and the customs passed down through generations. This blend can be incredibly enriching, yet it also requires a careful navigation that many newcomers to such relationships find challenging. In the midst of this joyful journey, it becomes clear that your initial enthusiasm might have led you to ignore some of the finer points of her cultural expectations. While the romance feels like a dream come true, you may soon notice that certain behaviors and attitudes which might seem normal to you carry a much deeper meaning for her. For instance, A casual comment or a simple gesture could be interpreted in ways that are deeply rooted in Filipino traditions of respect and humility. What might appear to be a minor slip can have significant repercussions in a culture where maintaining honor and family dignity is paramount. As you spend more time together, you start to observe small differences in how decisions are made and how emotions are expressed. In many cases, you might notice that her way of showing love is not as overt or individualistic as what you are used to. Instead, love is often expressed through acts of service, shared meals, and a constant presence of family and community support. This means that there is a strong expectation for loyalty and a commitment that goes beyond just the two of you. You might find that the weight of these expectations is much heavier than what you initially anticipated. Another aspect that becomes apparent over time is the importance of patience and understanding in a relationship that bridges two distinct cultures. The fast pace of modern life can sometimes clash with a more deliberate, thoughtful approach to decision-making that is common in Filipino culture. While you might be used to quick decisions and spontaneous plans, she may prefer to take time to consider the implications of each choice, especially when it involves her family or long-term commitments. This difference in tempo can create moments of tension, where the speed at which you expect things to move does not match the careful, considered approach that she values so deeply. Moreover, the cultural backdrop of her life means that there are certain expectations about gender roles and responsibilities that might differ significantly from what you have known before. In many Filipino relationships, there is a strong sense of duty and sacrifice that is expected from both partners. This might mean that she is expected to be nurturing and supportive, while also upholding the traditions that have been a part of her identity since childhood. At the same time, you may feel pressure to be assertive or protective, roles that are influenced by a blend of modern ideals and long-held cultural norms. Navigating these roles without a clear understanding of their origins and meanings can leave you feeling uncertain about how to act or respond in various situations. As you continue to explore the layers of this relationship, the initial magic of her charm gradually gives way to a more complex reality. The vibrant culture that once seemed like a beautiful tapestry of endless possibilities now reveals threads of responsibility, tradition, and subtle expectations that you must learn to appreciate and respect. You might find yourself wondering if you are truly ready to embrace not just a person, but an entire way of life that is steeped in customs, rituals, and a deep sense of community. The excitement of the beginning, with its colorful stories and enchanting moments, begins to blend with a recognition of the effort required to maintain harmony in a relationship where every gesture carries weight. The process of understanding her culture is not instantaneous. It requires time, patience, and a willingness to listen. You start to see that each family event, every shared meal, and even the quiet moments spent in conversation are opportunities to learn more about the values that shape her world. There is a quiet beauty in the way she honors her traditions, in the respect she shows to her elders, and in the unspoken bond that ties her to her roots. This beauty, while alluring, also demands that you adjust your perspective and learn to appreciate the significance of even the smallest details. In this journey of discovery, you may encounter moments of doubt and confusion as you try to reconcile your own expectations with the realities of her cultural heritage. There are times when you might feel that the gap between your worlds is too wide to bridge, and yet the pull of her warmth and the promise of a shared future keep you moving forward. The challenge lies in balancing the allure of her captivating culture with the practical understanding of the responsibilities it entails. Each day brings a new lesson in communication, empathy, and the art of compromise. You start to see that this relationship is much like a dance, one that requires both partners to be in tune with each other's rhythms, to respect the steps that have been passed down through generations, and to find a way to move gracefully together despite the differences in style. It is a dance that, while beautiful and full of promise, demands that you be mindful of every movement, every gesture, and every word. The process is continuous, and there is always more to learn, more to understand, and more ways in which the past and present intertwine to shape your shared experience. As the relationship evolves, you may begin to notice that the initial excitement is replaced by a deeper sense of commitment and responsibility. The realization that this is not just a fleeting romance, but a long-term journey filled with both joys and challenges becomes clearer with every passing day. The colorful moments of celebration, the quiet evenings filled with heartfelt conversation, and even the occasional misunderstandings all contribute to a richer, more nuanced picture of what it means to truly connect with someone from a culture as diverse and vibrant as that of the Filipinas. Yet, even as you immerse yourself in these new experiences, the process of understanding her world remains an ongoing adventure. Each new discovery about her traditions and values only deepens the mystery and allure of the relationship, prompting you to ask more questions and seek further insight into the cultural nuances that govern her life. And just as you begin to feel you have grasped the essence of what it means to be part of her world, another layer of complexity reveals itself, urging you to explore further and prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. In the heat of the moment, following your instincts might seem like the best choice, especially when you are swept up by the excitement of a new romance with a Filipina. The allure of a passionate connection, the promise of a life less ordinary, and the escape from your routine can make this decision feel natural and almost inevitable. You find yourself drawn to her vibrant energy, her genuine smile, and the warmth that lights up every conversation. In these moments, every heartbeat tells you that this relationship might be the perfect solution to break free from the monotony of everyday life. It feels like a magical escape into a world where love is spontaneous, and every moment is filled with the thrill of new beginnings. Yet, beneath this captivating surface lies a complex web of cultural differences and expectations that often goes unnoticed in the rush of emotion. When you let your instincts take control, you might not realize that a relationship with a Filipina carries with it an intricate blend of traditions, family values, and social norms that can differ greatly from what you are used to. The simple act of falling in love can sometimes overshadow the deeper aspects of cultural compatibility and the challenges that arise when two worlds collide. This impulsive decision to dive into romance might seem like the easiest path at first, but it quietly ignores the need for understanding and respect for the long-standing customs that shape her identity. The decision to act on impulse might lead you to underestimate the significance of family and community in her life. In the Philippines, relationships are rarely seen as isolated bonds between two people. They are deeply rooted in the fabric of extended families and close-knit communities. What may appear as a simple romantic decision can quickly become a complex entanglement of familial expectations and societal pressures. You might find that your actions, which once seemed purely personal, begin to impact those around her, influencing how she is perceived by her family and even her friends. This can introduce challenges that you had not anticipated, making the relationship far more complicated than the carefree romance you initially imagined. As the days pass, the cultural nuances begin to reveal themselves in subtle yet powerful ways. The way she communicates, the respect she shows towards elders, and her deep sense of duty to her family might differ from the norms you are accustomed to. In the heat of passion, you might overlook these differences, assuming that love will naturally bridge any gap. However, when cultural expectations clash with personal desires, the consequences can be both unexpected and significant. The impulsive nature of your decision may lead you to ignore small signs that, if heeded, could have provided a clearer picture of what lies ahead in your relationship. Distance can also play a significant role in this situation, adding another layer of complexity to an already delicate dynamic. Many Filipinas have strong ties to their hometowns, families, and traditions, and the idea of moving away or altering that connection can be challenging. If you are from a different country or even a different part of the Philippines, you might face the harsh reality of long-distance challenges. The excitement of a new romance can sometimes blur the difficulties of maintaining a relationship when miles apart, and the impulsiveness of your initial decision may lead you to underestimate the effort required to bridge that physical gap. Regular visits, constant communication, and the logistical challenges of traveling back and forth are all factors that can strain the relationship over time. Moreover, impulsively choosing to embark on a romance with a Filipina might lead you to overlook the differences in life expectations. While you might be ready to embrace spontaneity and the thrill of the unknown, she might have a more structured view of her future, one that is deeply intertwined with her cultural values and family responsibilities. This divergence in expectations can create tension, as both of you try to navigate a relationship that demands a balance between personal freedom and the need to adhere to traditional practices. The simple desire to escape routine may eventually collide with the reality of planning for a future that respects both individual dreams and collective responsibilities. In these moments of passion, it is easy to let your emotions dictate your actions pushing aside rational thought and careful planning. The logic that drives your initial decision seems infallible when love is fresh and every moment is filled with joy. However, as time goes on, the initial euphoria might fade, and you begin to face the practical challenges that come with blending two different worlds. You may start to notice that the impulsiveness that brought you together also brings with it a host of complications that can strain the relationship. From miscommunications arising from cultural differences to the stress of managing long-distance expectations, every challenge adds up, gradually revealing that the decision to follow your instincts without a clear understanding of the consequences might have been a misstep. The seductive simplicity of following your heart in the moment can quickly turn into a labyrinth of unforeseen challenges. What once seemed like a straightforward escape from the mundane becomes a complex dance of balancing love, respect, and cultural identity. Each day brings new questions and dilemmas about how to honor her heritage while forging a path that is uniquely yours. The reality of maintaining a relationship that crosses cultural and geographical boundaries starts to sink in, and you may find yourself facing situations that require careful thought and adjustment, rather than the carefree passion that initially drew you in. You begin to realize that every decision, every interaction is colored by the rich tapestry of her cultural background. The differences that once appeared as minor details now loom large, challenging your assumptions and forcing you to confront the fact that love, while powerful, is not always enough to overcome the complexities of cultural dissonance. The impulsive leap that once promised excitement now seems to come with hidden costs as you grapple with the responsibilities and expectations that were not evident in the early stages of your romance. This realization may leave you questioning whether the initial thrill was worth the inevitable hurdles that arise when reality sets in. As you continue on this unpredictable journey, the lessons of cultural differences and the demands of long-distance relationships begin to intertwine, creating a landscape filled with both beauty and uncertainty. The heat of the moment, with all its passion and promise, slowly gives way to the realization that understanding and compromise are essential to navigate this intricate path. The simplicity of your initial decision becomes a memory, replaced by a more nuanced understanding of what it truly means to build a relationship that respects both your desires and the deep-rooted values that shape her life. And just as you start to untangle the web of challenges brought on by that impulsive decision, a new question arises, inviting you to explore the next stage of this delicate dance of love and cultural connection. In the beginning, every meeting feels like a dream come true, where the air is filled with hope and excitement. The first few encounters with a Filipina can seem like the perfect start of a beautiful romance. You are captivated by her warm smile, gentle laughter, and the natural grace with which she carries herself. Every conversation flows effortlessly, as if you have known each other for a long time. The chemistry is undeniable, and it appears that everything is in harmony. There is a sense of ease and mutual understanding that makes you believe that nothing could possibly go wrong. However, as the days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the picture begins to change. The initial bliss gradually gives way to subtle signs that something is not as perfect as it seemed at first. Cultural misunderstandings start to creep in, often in the most unexpected moments. Simple phrases or gestures that you once took for granted now seem to carry hidden meanings that you struggle to understand. For example, what might seem like a casual remark can sometimes be interpreted in a way that touches on deeper, culturally rooted sentiments. These moments, though small at first, slowly add up, creating a pattern of confusion and misinterpretation. Differences in values become more apparent as you get to know each other on a deeper level. In the early days, the focus is on the fun, the excitement, and the thrill of new love. But soon you begin to see that your ideas about family, loyalty, and long-term commitments are not entirely aligned. In the Filipino culture, there is a strong emphasis on family ties and respect for elders, and these values can sometimes clash with a more individualistic approach to life. This difference in values is not about right or wrong, it is simply a reflection of the different worlds you come from. Yet these differences can lead to disagreements on matters that seem trivial at first, but grow in importance over time. Communication, which once felt so effortless, can become a source of constant frustration. As you attempt to navigate the complex layers of cultural context, you may find that your words are often misunderstood, or that your intentions are not clearly conveyed. There are times when a simple discussion about future plans or personal boundaries turns into a heated debate, not because of anger or disrespect, but because of a clash in communication styles. The directness that you may be used to in your own culture can sometimes be seen as too blunt or insensitive, while the more subtle, indirect way of expressing feelings in hers may leave you feeling uncertain about what is truly meant. These conflicts in communication are like ripples in a pond, starting small but gradually growing until they affect the overall harmony of the relationship. Moreover, many couples quickly discover that the expectations they have for a relationship can differ widely. In the early stages, you might feel that every moment is filled with promise and that the future is bright with potential. But as reality sets in, you begin to see that there are unspoken commitments and responsibilities that you may not have fully understood or been prepared for. In a relationship with a Filipina, there is often a strong expectation of loyalty, not just between the two of you, but also in relation to her family and community. This can sometimes create tension when your ideas of independence and personal space come into conflict with the cultural norm of close familial ties. The pressure to conform to these expectations can be overwhelming, especially when you are still trying to find your place in the relationship. As these challenges unfold, you start to notice that what initially seemed like minor issues are actually significant hurdles. Misinterpretations of everyday actions can lead to feelings of hurt and resentment. For example, a misunderstanding about a comment or a gesture can escalate into a disagreement that leaves both of you feeling frustrated and disconnected. The more you try to clarify your intentions, the more it seems that the underlying cultural differences become a barrier to understanding. This cycle of miscommunication can be draining, as you find yourself repeatedly trying to bridge a gap that seems to widen with each passing day. In addition, the pressures of meeting not just personal expectations but also those of her family and social circle add another layer of complexity. In many cases, dating a Filipina is not just a matter between two people. It involves the opinions and judgments of a whole community. Every family gathering, every social event becomes a test of compatibility and a stage where unspoken expectations come into play. These situations can be particularly challenging if you come from a background where individualism and personal choice are highly valued, and you suddenly find yourself in a setting where collective decisions and family consensus rule the day. The feeling of being constantly evaluated and having to adjust your behavior to fit into a pre-established mold can be both confusing and exhausting. With time, you may also realize that the excitement of the early days starts to fade, replaced by a more realistic view of what the relationship entails. The dreamy moments of laughter and shared secrets give way to discussions about long-term goals, financial responsibilities, and plans for the future. It is during these conversations that the weight of the cultural and personal differences becomes even more evident. You may find that while you are eager to embrace a spontaneous lifestyle, she might prefer a more structured and predictable path, one that is closely tied to family traditions and community expectations. The disparity in these outlooks can lead to conflicts that are not easily resolved, as both of you struggle to reconcile your individual desires with the realities of your cultural backgrounds. In this stage of the relationship, the signs that something is amiss become more pronounced. The charm of the initial encounters is overshadowed by a growing awareness of the challenges that lie ahead. Every miscommunication, every difference in values, and every conflict over expectations serves as a reminder that love, while beautiful, is not always simple or straightforward. The reality of navigating a relationship that spans different cultures and expectations sets in slowly, leaving you to wonder if the magic of the beginning can ever fully overcome the obstacles that have emerged. As you continue to experience these ups and downs, the need for deeper understanding and a more thoughtful approach becomes clear. The lessons learned from each misunderstanding and every conflict begin to shape your perspective on what it truly means to be in a relationship that crosses cultural boundaries. Each day brings new challenges that test your ability to adapt and to communicate effectively, urging you to look beyond the surface and to understand the deeper emotional and cultural currents at play. And just as you start to piece together the complexities of these cultural dynamics and personal expectations, you find yourself on the verge of exploring another crucial aspect of this intricate journey, a deeper dive into the emotional resilience required to overcome these challenges and create a truly harmonious connection. Once these conflicts settle in, trying to leave that situation becomes much more complicated than you ever imagined. At first, the romance and excitement may have masked the differences and misunderstandings, but as time passes, every unresolved issue becomes a knot in the fabric of your relationship. Changing the dynamic of a relationship that has already been marked by cultural misunderstandings and daily miscommunications requires not only effort and patience, but also a level of honest communication that is hard to reach once the initial passion has faded. The process of change is not just about fixing a few small problems. It is about rethinking old habits, understanding each other's deeply rooted beliefs, and finding a way to reconnect the values that once brought you together. In these situations, the barriers that form are both emotional and practical. Emotionally, you might feel hurt by things that were never clearly explained, or frustrated by comments that seemed insignificant at the time, but now carry a heavy weight. These feelings build up over time and create a distance that is not easy to bridge. You may start to wonder if the person you fell in love with is still there, or if the misunderstandings have created a gap too wide to cross. Practical barriers, such as differences in family expectations, cultural traditions, and daily communication styles, add to the complexity of the situation. Every conversation, every disagreement, seems to reinforce the divide that has slowly grown between you, making the idea of a fresh start seem almost impossible. To change the course of a relationship filled with such deep-rooted conflicts, you must be willing to face uncomfortable truths about yourself and your partner. It requires a willingness to step back and see the bigger picture, recognizing that both of you come from different backgrounds, each with its own set of values and traditions. This kind of self-reflection is not easy, especially when you are caught up in the emotions of hurt and disappointment. You begin to realize that every misunderstanding, every conflict, is a symptom of a larger issue, a failure to communicate openly about the differences that exist between you. It is not enough to simply say sorry or to hope that time will heal everything. Instead, a conscious effort must be made to address the underlying issues, to talk about the small details that have been overlooked, and to re-establish the connection that once made your bond so strong. As you try to rebuild the foundation of your relationship, patience becomes your closest ally. Changing deeply ingrained habits and perceptions does not happen overnight. It is a gradual process that involves slowly dismantling the walls built by years of misunderstanding and miscommunication. You start by addressing one issue at a time, learning to recognize the triggers that lead to conflict and taking steps to avoid or manage them. This might mean setting aside time for regular conversations where both of you can speak freely about your feelings without fear of judgment or dismissal. It might also require seeking help from someone who understands both cultural backgrounds, perhaps a trusted friend or a counselor who can provide an objective perspective. Good communication becomes not just a tool, but a necessity. In the heat of an argument, words that were meant to be healing can become weapons that inflict further damage. The way you express yourself and listen to each other has to change drastically if you want to mend what has been broken. This means learning to pause before reacting, to truly listen rather than waiting for your turn to speak, and to appreciate that each of you might express love and concern in different ways. The direct and sometimes blunt way of speaking in one culture may need to soften to match the more indirect, subtle cues preferred in another. As you navigate these delicate waters, every conversation becomes a learning experience, slowly teaching you how to balance your own needs with the expectations of your partner. In this journey of reconnection, the effort to understand goes hand in hand with the effort to forgive. Forgiveness is not about forgetting the past or pretending that nothing ever happened. It is about recognizing that both of you have made mistakes and that the only way forward is to learn from them. It means letting go of the bitterness that may have accumulated over time and opening up space for honest discussions about what you both want for the future. This process requires a lot of courage, as it means admitting vulnerabilities and taking risks that may or may not lead to success. It involves a constant negotiation of differences, where both of you must be willing to compromise without feeling that your core identity is being compromised. At the same time, the practical aspects of your lives must be considered. The routines and expectations set by family, work, and community continue to influence your relationship even as you try to change its dynamics. Adjusting these external pressures can be as challenging as overcoming the internal emotional barriers. For example, when family expectations clash with your personal plans, it creates additional layers of stress and misunderstanding. To navigate these challenges, you may need to work together to set boundaries that respect both your individual desires and the collective expectations imposed by your respective cultural backgrounds. This could involve difficult conversations with family members or making sacrifices that you never anticipated at the start of your relationship. The process of changing an established relationship dynamic is like trying to alter the course of a river that has already carved its path. It is not enough to simply hope that things will get better with time. Instead, both of you must actively engage in the process of reevaluation and adaptation. Every effort to understand and address the issues at hand is a step towards mending the fractures in your relationship. The challenge lies not only in identifying what went wrong, but also in discovering new ways to build a future that honors both of your backgrounds while creating something uniquely your own. As you struggle to reconnect the values that once united you, it becomes clear that this process is not linear. There will be setbacks, moments of frustration, and times when it feels as if every step forward is met with 2 steps back. The initial enthusiasm of a new romance is long gone, replaced by the reality of hard work and constant negotiation. Yet, in the midst of all this struggle, there is a persistent hope, a belief that with enough effort, understanding, and the willingness to change, it might be possible to restore the connection that seems to be slipping away. In the quiet moments, when you both reflect on what has brought you together in the first place, you begin to see the faint traces of the love and passion that once made everything seem so effortless. These memories serve as a reminder of why you embarked on this journey together, and why it is worth fighting for, even when the path seems treacherous and the obstacles insurmountable. You realize that every challenge, every misunderstanding, is a part of a larger process of growth, a process that, if navigated with care, can lead to a deeper, more resilient bond. Just as you start to see a glimmer of hope and the possibility of reconnecting on a deeper level, the journey is far from over. There remains the task of rediscovering the emotional resilience needed to truly overcome these challenges. With every conversation and every attempt at compromise, you inch closer to understanding not just each other, but the intricate balance of love, culture, and commitment that defines your relationship. And as you begin to explore these possibilities, the next challenge awaits, a dive into the emotional resilience that is essential for maintaining harmony and building a future that embraces both the past and the promise of tomorrow. To avoid making mistakes when dating a Filipina, the best path is to invest in self-knowledge and develop a deep understanding of her culture. Before you even begin a relationship, it is important to learn about the Filipino way of life, its history, traditions, and the values that shape everyday actions. In the Philippines, family, community, and respect for elders are at the heart of social life, and understanding these elements can give you a clearer picture of what is expected in a relationship. Taking the time to research these topics is not only a sign of respect, but it also prepares you for the nuances that an international relationship brings. When you start to explore Filipino culture, you will notice that many of its customs revolve around close family ties and a strong sense of community. Filipinos often spend a lot of time with their extended families, and decisions are made with the family in mind. This means that when you are dating a Filipina, you are not just building a bond with one person, but you are also slowly becoming part of a wider network that values loyalty, respect, and togetherness. For example, attending family gatherings and joining in community celebrations are not just casual events. They are important rituals that reinforce the bonds between people. Understanding these practices and the emotions behind them will help you navigate the social landscape of a Filipino relationship. Self-knowledge plays a crucial role in this journey. Before entering a relationship, you should ask yourself what you truly want and whether you are ready to adapt your habits to a new cultural setting. This kind of introspection means looking at your own expectations, your lifestyle, and your willingness to accept differences. It is essential to be honest with yourself about your limits and your desires. If you are aware of your own strengths and weaknesses, you will be better prepared to embrace a relationship that may require changes on your part. Reflect on your previous experiences and consider how they have shaped your views on love and commitment. Being clear about who you are helps create a stable foundation for any relationship, and it makes the journey of understanding another culture more manageable. Listening with attention is another key element in building a strong relationship with a Filipina. Communication in the Philippines often includes not just words but gestures, expressions, and sometimes a quiet silence that speaks volumes. When she talks about her family, her dreams, or even her daily struggles, listen carefully. This is more than just hearing her voice. It is about understanding the feelings behind the words. Ask questions that show your interest in her background and her life experiences. Simple questions like, "What does your family mean to you?" or "How did you learn about your traditions growing up?" can open up conversations that reveal a great deal about her values. By genuinely engaging in these dialogues, you signal that you respect and value her culture. Being willing to adapt is also vital in a relationship that crosses cultural boundaries. Adapting does not mean losing your identity. It means being flexible and open-minded. You might have habits and ways of doing things that are very different from hers. For example, while you might be used to a more individualistic lifestyle, she might find great comfort in collective decision-making with her family. Accepting these differences means that you are prepared to make compromises and to see things from a perspective that is not your own. You might even start to enjoy activities that you never considered before, such as joining in on local festivals or learning to cook traditional Filipino dishes. Each new experience is a chance to grow and to build a connection that is deeper than superficial attractions. Patience is a virtue that becomes even more significant when dating someone from a different culture. In a relationship with a Filipina, things may not move as quickly as you expect. There can be delays in making plans, disagreements that take time to resolve, or family matters that require your attention. Patience means allowing the relationship to develop at its own pace, without forcing changes or pushing for quick resolutions. It is about understanding that growth takes time and that every step, even those that seem small, builds toward a future together. When challenges arise, patience helps you stay calm and focused on finding solutions rather than getting caught up in frustration. Planning your steps in a relationship is equally important. A healthy and long-lasting relationship requires careful thought and intentional actions. This means setting goals together, discussing your future, and understanding what you both want out of the partnership. For instance, if you are serious about a future with her, it might be important to talk about where you will live, how you will manage your careers, and how you will blend your cultures in everyday life. Such discussions might feel daunting at first, but they are essential for preventing misunderstandings and ensuring that you both are on the same page. Clear planning does not take away the spontaneity of love. Instead, it provides a roadmap that helps you navigate the uncertainties that any relationship may bring. Communication is the cornerstone of any solid relationship, and its importance cannot be overstated when you are dating a Filipina. Speaking clearly and honestly about your feelings, expectations, and concerns is necessary to avoid the pitfalls that many couples face. The simple language used in everyday conversations can sometimes hide complex emotions, so it is crucial to be as clear as possible. If you feel that something is bothering you, discuss it calmly and respectfully. Similarly, encourage her to share her thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. Open communication creates an environment where both partners feel heard and valued, and it lays the groundwork for resolving conflicts before they become major issues. Developing a deep understanding of Filipino values will help you avoid common mistakes that can hurt the relationship. For example, respect is a value deeply ingrained in Filipino culture, and showing respect towards her family and traditions can go a long way in winning her trust and admiration. Small acts, such as using polite language, showing gratitude for the meals she prepares, or participating in family events, signal that you appreciate the culture she comes from. It is also important to remember that every individual may interpret these cultural values differently, so keep an open mind and be ready to learn continuously. This approach not only shows your respect for her background, but also creates an atmosphere of mutual understanding where both partners can grow together. Investing time in understanding her expectations is another vital step. Filipinas often have clear ideas about what they expect in a partner and in a relationship, which are often influenced by their upbringing and cultural norms. These expectations may include loyalty, commitment, and the willingness to take on responsibilities that come with joining two families together. It might also mean being patient with the pace of the relationship or participating actively in family traditions. Understanding these expectations does not mean that you have to change who you are. Rather, it means that you recognize and honor the values that are important to her. By aligning your actions with these expectations, you build trust and demonstrate that you are serious about creating a long-lasting bond. The journey towards building a solid relationship with a Filipina is filled with opportunities for personal growth and mutual learning. Every new conversation, every shared meal, and every cultural event is a chance to connect more deeply. As you continue to explore the layers of her background and your own inner world, you begin to appreciate the beauty of a relationship that is not defined by superficial attractions, but by a genuine desire to understand and support one another. The challenges you face together become stepping stones that lead to a more mature and resilient connection, where both partners are enriched by the experience of blending different traditions and perspectives. In this process, you may also find that your own identity evolves. As you learn more about Filipino culture, you might start to see reflections of your own values and beliefs in new ways. This journey of self-discovery, intertwined with cultural understanding, often leads to personal growth that extends beyond the relationship itself. You become more empathetic, more patient, and more aware of the nuances that shape human interactions. This evolution is not only beneficial for your relationship, but also for your life as a whole, making you a more well-rounded and thoughtful individual. Building a healthy and lasting relationship with a Filipina requires continuous effort and a willingness to embrace change. There will be moments when the path seems uncertain, when old habits resurface, or when new challenges appear. However, every difficulty offers an opportunity to strengthen the bond between you. By consistently applying what you have learned about cultural understanding, clear communication, and self-awareness, you create a foundation that can weather the storms of misunderstanding and conflict. This journey is not without its struggles, but it is also filled with moments of joy, discovery, and profound connection. The simple language of everyday life in the Philippines, characterized by warmth, directness, and genuine care, can be a guiding light in your relationship. When you communicate in clear and uncomplicated English, you not only make your thoughts accessible, but also bridge the gap between different cultural expressions. This style of communication, appreciated for its honesty and clarity, can help both of you navigate the complexities of an international relationship. It ensures that each word carries meaning and that every conversation contributes to a deeper understanding of one another. In this way, the choice to speak simply and sincerely is not just a practical decision, but a heartfelt commitment to building a relationship based on truth and respect. As you look toward the future, remember that investing in self-knowledge and cultural understanding is a continuous process. The more you learn, the more you realize that every relationship is a dynamic journey filled with lessons that go beyond the initial spark of romance. Each day presents new challenges and opportunities to refine your understanding of both your own identity and the rich tapestry of Filipino culture. This journey, while sometimes demanding, is also deeply rewarding. It offers the chance to create a connection that is not only lasting, but also profoundly enriching, one that is built on a solid foundation of mutual respect, open communication, and genuine care. The process of adapting to an international relationship requires you to be flexible and willing to change. It may mean adjusting your schedule to accommodate family events, learning to appreciate traditions that you were not familiar with, or simply taking the time to listen and understand her perspective. By being open to these adjustments, you show that you are committed to making the relationship work and that you value her background as much as you value your own way of life. This mutual respect and willingness to grow together can help smooth out many of the rough patches that inevitably come with merging different worlds. In the end, the goal of investing in self-knowledge and cultural understanding is to create a relationship that is as solid as it is compassionate. It is about taking the time to truly know yourself so that you can bring the best version of you to the relationship, and about learning the rich history and traditions that shape the life of a Filipina. By doing so, you not only avoid the common pitfalls that many face, but you also build a connection that has the strength to last through any challenge. Each thoughtful conversation, every shared experience, and each moment of patience adds a brick to the strong foundation you are laying together. And as you continue on this journey of discovery and growth, the next step will invite you to explore even deeper into the practical ways you can nurture and maintain this bond, ensuring that your relationship continues to flourish in the face of every new challenge. Hey there! We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Your stories and experiences can inspire others and help us all connect over the rich, vibrant culture of the Philippines. And if you're curious for more, don't miss the end screen where more exciting facts and hidden gems about the Philippines await you. Tap now to keep exploring and satisfy that sense of wonder. Your next great discovery is just a click away.